computer. All right, happy Sunday, everyone. Welcome to tonight's team call for Team Impact and Team Why Not You. I'm going to be speaking tonight a little bit on just like planting seeds, what that looks like, what the implications are, and just kind of the importance of it, and how I would say majority of my business has kind of had a foundation of planting seeds. So I'll talk a little bit about like how I do that and kind of the follow-up and the aspects associated with that. But first and foremost, it is so important, obviously, our vital behaviors. It is the connecting, the inviting, and the follow-up. Like that's not all of them, but that's a big chunk of our vital behaviors. And people think invites are super scary and they maybe feel icky about them. And we've talked about this before, that invites shouldn't be icky. And I think a lot of it comes down to creating those connections, planting those seeds, and just just connecting with people, because sometimes the invites just happen. They just follow. So one way that I like to plant seeds, and this isn't necessarily in regards to like inviting someone to the opportunity or to your boot camp, is just responding to stories, like watching people's stories and responding to them. And if someone is posting, healthy recipes or their workouts, I just cheer them on. Like I am literally their biggest cheerleader. I think this is a really deep rooted way to connect with people, to then facilitate like planting those seeds and inviting. I just saw someone's story. She's an OT, and she just put on her story like a spring 2020 workout journal that she's creating, and like shared her workout goals. And so I responded to her story as like, I'm going to be your biggest cheerleader, while you're doing this or whatever. And so I know to keep an eye out for her. And so stuff like that. So I would say if you need like time to unwind during the day, or like that's kind of a good like unwinding thing, is just to like watch stories and respond to them. And it's a genuine and authentic way to open conversations. And then obviously, when you are sending out invites, making sure that you are tracking those. You have to be tracking who you're talking to, because there have been so many people that I've probably let like slide through the cracks, that either next thing you know, they're in someone else's boot camp, or just nothing ever comes of it. Or super awkward is when I, say I invited someone last summer, and I'm going through and like, you're looking at who's watching my stories, and I'll go to send them an invite. I'm like, well, this is really awkward. I said I'd follow up with them in 2 months, and I didn't. That's really awkward. Follow through with what you're going to say. So that is why tracking who you are inviting, tracking who you're having, conversations with. And if you say that you are going to follow up with someone, or if someone else is going to follow up with you, you need to do that. Have to follow up. There's various ways that I do that, and everyone does it differently. So I'm going to kind of put a couple ideas out there. The business activity tracker has like a separate sheet on there that has like the slots to track names. That's a great place to start. Some people have like a notebook. Some people use Excel spreadsheet, where they will put their name and then the date that they initially, connected with them, when to follow up, what you talked about, stuff like that. And I kind of do it probably the more complicated way. Is I do like, if I want to send 5 invites a day, I will write Monday. I'll write those 5 people that I invited. And then I do that for like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then if they respond and start connecting, then I put them into Google Streak. And then throughout the week, I'm following up. So like on Tuesday, I'm following up with Monday's people. Wednesday, I'm following up with Tuesday's people and stuff like that, making sure they got my message. So that's kind of how I'm initially planting the seed. Now, how often do we have like people will be like, now's not just the best time, I'm really busy, Google Streak. Oh, you don't know what Google Streak is? So Google Streak it's an extension off of Gmail, and it's kind of like a way of tracking like customers or leads or whatever. If you Melanie Mitro has a training on it. It's personally how I keep track of all of my customers and leads and people who I need to follow up with. There are some people that, like, I know Sammy, it's like, absolutely not.
And I think the problem is, though, like, I do so much of my business not on my computer at home. And if you do a lot of your business from your phone, like point A to point B, whatever, Google Streak does not work for you. Like, if you are a Power Pocket person, Google Streak does not really work for you very well.
Yeah, I agree. Google Streak, I've tried, like, I've downloaded the app on my phone and it still like doesn't work very well. And I prefer to work from my computer. So that's why it works for me. But if you want to look more into it, Melanie Mitro has a really good like training on it where she explains how she organizes everyone. And what I like about it is I literally will get, like, I have an email reminder right now, like Google Streak reminder, follow up with this person. So I get email notifications like, hey, follow up with this girl, and then it'll take me to her like little section on there. So that's what it is, and I think it's really helpful. But as far as, there are people who say like, oh, now's not a good time, I'm too busy, I have this coming up, I have conferences, I have to file my taxes, I have to wait for my tax return to come back. Sammy. But
what if after a tax return came back? All of those were true statements.
Yes, they were true, but I had to follow up a ton. So follow up with those people when they say that they want to be followed up with. Oh, always ask. Now, there are a lot of people where I'm like, hey, you asked me to check back in with you in February, like, is now a better time? Or, how are you doing? Or whatever. And sometimes they're like, no, not right now, or I'm just not interested. And, I'll be honest and I will say, I'm really bummed. I was really looking forward to working with you, but I respect that, whatever. And, if someone straight up tells you no, like, you don't try to push that anymore. And you just kind of bless and release. The last month, I have had 2 people, I shared a screenshot in my team page, but to just kind of go back to that, for anyone who's not in there, basically, I had sent an invite to a girl, and she's like, I'm not interested, no thank you. And I was like, no worries, like, gotcha. She reached out to me now 2 weeks ago and was like, hey, so I'm not interested in like coaching, but like, is there a way to get a discount on Beachbody stuff? And I was like, well, actually, funny you ask. So, and I did not have to reach back out to her, but that just kind of goes to show how I planted. She knew she could come to me now. And yes, the no's, I mean, any business that anyone is in, you're going to get no's. You're going to put yourself out there and you're going to get a lot of no's. And if we perseverate on every single one of those, if anyone in sales like perseverated on the people who told them no, they would not be successful. The people who aren't successful probably perseverated on the people who said no. So continuing to show up is, I think, one of the big things that we don't think about in like the power of planting seeds, because it's one thing to plant a seed and to start a conversation or to invite someone or even for them to say no, but you have to be able to follow up and continue to show up for them to know like you are consistently there and you are going to be there when they are ready. I say that with quotes because there's never like the right time, right? But you have to be consistent in showing up in your own health, fitness, business, social media. There has to be consistency in there for someone to, there's like a trust in that, whether we find trust and consistency and trust that, oh, this is like a lifestyle thing. This isn't just a temporary thing, or, oh, this actually does work, or, oh, this is like a legit thing. Like, she's not just trying to sell me something. No, like, I care about you, and I genuinely want to help you. So I know these are things that you guys have never heard before, but like lately in the last month, I have literally experienced firsthand how planting seeds and just following up with people, being consistent has paid off. Because how much of this business do we kind of put in work on the front end, and it takes time for those seeds to grow and to blossom further down the road. And it's really easy to get discouraged when you feel like you have just heard no or crickets from every single person, and we just throw in the towel because what I'm doing isn't working. No one wants to talk to me. Or, it's why send invites, because everyone just says no. And so if there's one thing that you take away, it's that while you feel like you may be putting in so much work right now, just know that it does compound over time. And I don't know the percentage, people throw out all sorts of numbers, but for so many people that you connect with and talk to, there's only so many people that are going to either respond or say yes and want to be your friend or whatever. So you have to, it's to an extent a numbers game, and you have to have those conversations and open that gate for people. And one of that is just inviting and committing to that. Not just saying, oh, I just want to, invite 2 people a day and then just think about it, because that's not going to plant any seeds. Because a year down the road, if you committed to inviting, we'll say 3 people a day, 365 times 3, we'll guesstimate about 1,000 people. I can't do mental math, but it's about 1,000 people. And of that 1,000 people, you know how many people will say yes, or you've now connected with 1,000 people that know that you are the person to go to if they need help with something. So, that's just kind of like my big message and my big importance that I want to press for you guys, is that there is so much power in just having those conversations with people and sending the invites. It's okay for someone to say no to you. I promise. It may don't let it eat you up inside, and know that someone now feels more comfortable to reach out to you, where they feel more comfortable with having that conversation with you. And yeah, does anyone have questions or anything they want to add on maybe an area of kind of planting seeds or just creating relationships that they feel like they're struggling with, or an area that they're just having a hard time with? Y'all feel like you're killing it? You're sending invites all the time?
Can you repeat that question? Sorry. We're trying to make cookies over here. It's not working out.
What are you saying, Sam? What did she say?
She asked for the question again. Pretty much just are there things that you feel like you're struggling with in regards to...
I said, can you repeat your question?
Yeah. I'm trying. Are there things that you feel like you are struggling with in regards to making connections with people?
I feel like just transitioning that conversation to how do you to maintain, because I've really been on the past couple weeks connecting with new people and things like that, but then how do you get to that point where it's you know what I mean, without it feeling awkward? Because it's some of them I feel kind of go there, but not all, you know what I mean? It's not all conversations just naturally go there, I feel like.
So one thing that I do, and this is why I like to send the Instagram video messages, because people can see my genuine authenticity and how I present myself. So I will literally say Hey, Ral, I know this is kind of random. I'm not sure if you saw my story the other day, but I'm actually like getting things ready for our March virtual boot camp, kind of getting ready for summer now. But anyways, I just didn't know if you had any like trips coming up or vacations, or maybe you just had like health and fitness goals that you were working towards, or maybe you're struggling with. But, I've got a couple spots, and I was just curious, if I set you up with like a fitness and meal plan, would you be interested in joining us? Or just saying like, do you have any health and fitness goals that you are working towards? And that's how I approach it, unless someone has already disclosed like their goals or things they're currently struggling with. That's how I kind of approach it. Like, I'm not sure if you saw this, but do you have any health and fitness goals that I could help you with? Anything like that? That's Sammy. Do you have anything to add?
Well, I was gonna say, I do it like the total opposite. Like, I don't ever like, and I wouldn't even necessarily consider that like cold inviting, because you have had previous conversations with the person, but it's more cold invite than what I do type of thing. Like, I would never just like send someone that message out of nowhere without previously talking about health and fitness or something health and fitness. So like, almost wait till all of like any conversations I'm having, kind of, Sam, like you were saying, a lot of them will naturally kind of like lead to there because of similar interests or whatever else, and that's typically how I do invites. Is like, I don't do like a set number every day. I don't say I have to invite 5 people every day. I don't say that I have to do however many coach invites a day. I kind of just feel out all the conversations I'm having as I'm having them, and let them be led there, because for me that feels more natural and more genuine. And like you said, like, yes, there are ones that like aren't there, and that's okay. Like, I've learned to kind of just be okay with that and let those conversations mature, and some of them will never get there, and that's okay. And I think just like learning to be okay with them not being where you always want them to be, and at least then you are still putting your effort in those things, into those people who are asking you questions about things, or those conversations that are getting there, and knowing that those other ones will get there if they get there, and that's okay.
All right, that's a really good point.
I was gonna say too, like, do you just connect with like that many people? Like, I don't know. I'm finding, because I'm trying to still like find what works. I don't like, I know I did like some of like the cold messaging and things like that, and I mean, I don't like that. It did feel kind of like yucky. So I'm trying to figure out how to like do like feel like the more natural. And I think too, what I found even with like gaining more followers too, it's like if I just follow people or like a couple pictures and follow, like I don't really get a ton of follows back. And that if like message if a story and I like message them about that, then I like get a follow back. So I'm just trying, you know what I mean, like just feeling it out, I guess, and seeing what works.
And honestly, like I would say that I spend on Instagram, I would say 50% of my time is spent in messages and replying to comments, and I would say 45% of the time is spent on like watching stories and just replying to stories. I very rarely scroll through my newsfeed, if ever. Like I really don't. And like sometimes I'll just scroll and like the most recent pictures for like 10 pictures, and like then I'm done with it. And I'm like, nope, I put almost all of my effort into stories and like watching other people's stories, and then like you said, like making comments on them. And so like when I say that I don't do like 5 invites a day or anything like that, like I literally just like interact with people. Like that's it. Like I don't say like I need to invite this like yes, there are certain people that I watch and I put them in like that little, what's it called, the little saved portfolio thing or whatever, and like those are specific people that I watch that I know I want to invite already. But but like I don't know, I just interact, and like if it gets there, it gets there, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. But like Courtney was kind of saying, it's a little bit of numbers game. Like the more people you interact with, the more conversations that you have the chance of getting there with, the more invites you can actually send genuinely, and then the more yeses you have the potential of getting. So that's kind of just how I look at it.
Sammy, do you filter out, like, sorry, I wanted to ask a question. I know you do flag messaging. Do you filter that out like every week or month, or like I do so many like flag messages and like connecting, but can be super overwhelming. So I didn't know how you kept track of it.
Yeah, so flag messages, like if I have sent them invite something, they have done up and I have sent them a message, that's when I flag them. If they are someone who like responds and is like, oh, I hit it on accident, I'm not interested, thanks anyways, I unflag them. So that's like, I unflag them as they say they're not interested, or if I've sent them like 6 messages that they haven't responded to and followed up with them like 6 times, I'll send them like a be all end all of, hey, it's been really hard to get a hold of you, like I don't know like where you're at or what's going on, but just know if like this is something you want to do, just let me know, but I'm going to take you off my follow-up list. And I just let them know that I'm taking them off my list, and I unflag them. So it's kind of, again, just like as things happen, people filter out, people filter in. Like it's very like fluid. It's very, you know, going with the flow of what the conversations are for all of the above type of thing.
Okay. Yeah, that helps a lot. Mine are like all over the place, so I should clean it up.
So I did want to add another way to plant a lot of seeds is really just having that interaction on your stories. So I know a lot of you guys post polls of things, you know, not necessarily related. I'll never forget, like this was like years ago, I posted a poll. I had like a glass of wine. It was like, are you team red or white? And literally everyone who voted like team white, I tell them like, ooh, I tried white wine, wasn't a huge fan, like team red for me, but like I'll still give you love. And then people, and I literally just sent that message to everyone who voted that, and just acknowledge the fact that they interacted on my story.
I do the same thing. Yeah. Like I tell the people who like I'm on the same side with, like, oh yeah, me too, I'm such a night owl or whatever. And then like the opposite side, like I have like another response, but I send like me who vote both of those 2 columns.
Yeah. So, and don't ever, like, there have been a few times where I'm like, oh, do I send a message to, you know, so-and-so for voting on my poll? I bet they just accidentally clicked it. No, never assume that. That is one thing that I have learned, that you follow up with and I tell people that, like, if it's someone who maybe like I've had a conversation with in the past and they like just never responded, they ghosted me, or they told me they weren't interested, I will still say like, hey, I saw you voted on my poll wanting more information for our upcoming boot camp. I know we've talked about it in the past, but I actually couldn't really get a hold of you. Wanted to do my due diligence of checking in. Is now a better time? Like, they are the person who clicked that poll. So never discount, you know, that someone just might maybe not, you know, maybe they accidentally clicked it and they don't want to hear from you. No, you follow up with every single person, because there have been times where I've thought that and they're like, no, I actually really need your help. I'm like, all right, let's chat. So give people those opportunities by putting that stuff, and make your story interactive and talk on your stories and all that jazz.
What do you guys think about like posting? Like, how often do you post? Oh, sorry. Hang on 1 second. Mama Dills is calling. How often do you post like about like the boot camp, like, you know what I mean, like the graphic and like things like that, without, you know what I mean, like what do you think you found is like a sweet spot? 'Cause it's like I don't want to like spam. That's the one thing that drives me nuts about Arbonne, is like, for other things, is like all the freaking, like all their stories are about their products and da 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 da, and I'm like, this is so annoying. So like, what do you feel like a good like spot with? I've tried to like put more about like the products, but not like be like annoying about it, like, you know, here's my shake of the day, or you know what I mean. And like even with like the boot camp graphics and stuff, I don't want to like be annoying about that either.
I try to get creative. Sometimes I will literally say, well, people, at least my people, they respond well to lists, like getting their name on a list. One, like last year I did 26 for 26 for my 26th birthday. People wanted their name on that list of 26, and it actually worked really well. I tried it this year and it didn't turn out so hot. But I think like the other week I had said like, I'm getting ready for Punta Cana. Is anyone else like having a trip coming up that they're, you know, like, do you have a vacation coming up? And saying like, yes, I have a vacation. Like, nope, I'm stuck at home. And I know sometimes I will put like on a workout clip, like, you know, are you done watching me? Are you ready to do this with me type of thing? Like, I see you watching me. You can see who watches my story. I don't do a call to action every day for my boot camp.
I was gonna say I usually only do the boot camp like graphic with like a poll maybe 3 times a month, maybe, and it's usually like beginning of the month, midway through the month, end of the month, and that's it. Sometimes I'll do different like coaching ones, like if it's like, you know, whatever's going on, like when we did the coach sneak peek, like there was one for that. I know I'm gonna do one for the 3-day refresh and like do like something about that. So I think like I don't do like strictly boot camp ones very often, kind of knowing that like people don't want to be spammed, and then they know like, oh, this doesn't come up all the time, so like if I'm gonna vote like I it now, it's not going to come up for another 2 weeks, you know, or I'm, you know, I want to be 2 weeks in by the time it comes up again, or by the time she posts about it again. And so like, I always think about that. And then kind of like what Courtney said, sometimes like, and I did this with Lift 4, when I was finishing Lift 4, I posted just a poll of like, oh, I'm finishing this program, this 4-day-a-week program. Do you want to try it? I have like a free link that you can try it out. And I'm going to do the same thing with Transform 20. It's like, oh, and I actually had 2 girls respond to that and like want the link and like gave me their email, and like I sent it to them, and you know, they're on a follow-up list now of like, oh, did you try that workout? And so like, yeah, that's 2 people out of my 500 people that watch my story, but those are 2 people who might sign up, you know? So I'm going to do that also with Transform 20, and just like thinking about different ways that you can kind of sneak in an invite or like a poll that's not necessarily like a graph poll. That makes sense.
Yeah, I don't use the graphic like rarely ever. I incorporate it into like my workout clips to kind of condense stories.
Yeah.
But
and I think I'm gonna do a coaching one, Sam, with those pictures that we just took too. So like I think I'm gonna let it kind of like simmer for like a week, and then be like, oh, I'm gonna start a new coach mentorship for anyone who like wants to sign up as a coach, and it'll be like on like one of our team pictures. Like that'll be kind of the thing. So yeah, that's like another thing that I'm gonna do. But I kind of just not only vary the style in which you invite, but also what you're inviting to can be different.
mm-hmm. Yeah, just making sure that you are putting those call to actions out there.
Is there like specific things you guys talk about on your stories related to coaching, or is it just about our community? Like it can be so like I myself feeling like about coach. I don't know why, but I don't want it to come off weird, but I don't know.
Just talking about like what it's done for you.
Right.
I mean, that's.
I just talk about what I do too, like as I'm doing it. Like,
yeah.
I don't know, like today, well, I guess that's not really a good example. I don't know, like if I do like one-on-ones, or like if I'm doing like check-ins with people for the week, or I'm creating graphics for this, or I don't know, like setting up this, you know, push group, and, you know, just like all those things are going to show people that they are going to be supported on your team, and they are going to be able to have the tools to be successful on your team.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. Does anyone have any other questions about planting seeds? I'm on time tonight. I'm doing good. Feeling good. Sammy, is it your turn to pick a picture this week?
Yes, it is. Let me do it right now so I can show everyone.
And I just have a question real quick. So, I've been messaging with a girl, and I sent her a link and she was looking at it, and of course, I got some feedback about, oh, well, this is so expensive, this is pricey. And I guess, trying to figure out how to, give more information on, okay, well, with this price, you get, access to all these workouts. So, after you're done one program, you can other one and, move on to that one, which also includes meal plans, nutrition guides, online support, a community of other, women on the same journey. So, like, I don't know, just
I
trying
think
to.
speaking on the value is huge. Like value. It's
And Amy, I was going to say my biggest tip for that too is like, I always, whenever someone asks about the price of what it is, like they'll say, oh, how much is that? Or how much is it to join? I always, no matter what, no matter how they phrase the question or whatever, I always send a list of all of the things they get before I send them the price. So like I will literally list out, you get this, 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 and it's $160. Like always. And that's like a tip from when my dad, a long time ago, my dad called, he is in marketing for years. And he talked about how just like people, their reactions differ based on the order that you put those in. And so like if you put all of the things they get first, they're thinking that it's going to be so expensive. And then when they see 160, they think, wow, I'm getting a freaking good deal. But if you put the price first, they're going to get stuck on that price no matter what you put after it. And so if you can put all of the things that they get first and then tell them the price, they're going to be thinking, wow, I'm getting a freaking steal right now.
Yeah, and Amy, I think that's what I sent you, is that long list and then the prices at the very last option.
Yeah, that list is what I used on one of my slides when I was doing my stories. So I mean, of course, I couldn't put everything on the slide story, but I picked, some things and put them on my slide to go on my story.
Yeah.
Oh, and also plus my husband is going to work out with me again in the morning, so I'm very excited about that.
I was gonna say, you have to share that. That's awesome.
Yes, very, very excited about that because, not that, my husband isn't, supportive of what I do, but I really don't think that he understood that, yeah, like I'm not just upstairs jumping around, playing around with this little step, like I'm like I'm sweating, I'm getting my butt kicked. So yeah, he's so yeah, excited about it.
Are you guys ready for this picture?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, here it is.
Oh, that's right.
Cute.
It's got a garage door that like opens.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I need to drive by this place. I need to find it.
What?
I know.
We gotta rent a Jeep.
Yeah. So it opens to like that backyard that we've shared already with like where the outside couches and stuff are. Like that's where it's connected to, it looks like. So
Love it.